Good morning. The past couple days we've been working with multi-step equations. Today I wanted to take a little break and talk specifically about adding and subtracting negative numbers. So you see behind me that I have a chart. You probably recognize this. It's a chart that's showing us negative and positive numbers. We have 0 at the center. Moving to the right, we're adding positive numbers. Moving to the left, we're going into the negative numbers. So, adding and subtracting is very straightforward. We all know what to do when you see 3 minus 2. It's going to get 1. Also, we're pretty familiar with 2 minus 3. We get negative 1. And I can see that on this chart. If I start at 2, 1, 2, 3, negative 1. But what do you do when you have a problem that is more like 2 minus negative 3? 2 minus a negative number. That one can get a little bit trickier. So that's what this chart is designed to help with. I will say moving forward that this is something that I found online. It's a video that I found that's a very helpful resource, and I'm relaying what I found on it. So, how do we use this chart? Well, going back to the simple idea of addition, if I have a problem like 2 plus 1, I'd simply start at this chart. The plus sign is going to tell me that I look right. And then this 1, I understand, even though it's not marked, as a positive 1. And so because it's a positive 1, I move in the direction of the arrow. That gives me 3. If I had something like this, 2 plus a negative 1, I would do it a little bit differently. 2 plus negative 1, again, I have a plus sign, so that's going to tell me I look right. Then I have a negative 1, and so I'm actually going to move in the opposite direction of the arrow. So instead of going forwards 1, I'm going to go back 1. That's going to give me 1. One more example, 2 plus a negative 2. We probably already know what this one's going to be, but again, 2. The plus sign tells me that I need to look right. Negative 2, I go backwards from the arrow. 1, 2. My answer is going to be 0. If I had a problem like 2 minus 3, again, I start with 2. This time, because I'm subtracting, I'm going to look left. The 3 is not marked as negative, so I understand that it's positive. So I'm going to go, but because it's a positive 3, to minus, I look left, a positive 3, I'm going to go in the direction of the arrow. 1, 2, 3, negative 1. If I were to change it to minus a negative 3, again, 2 minus, I look left, and then a negative 3. Because it's a negative 3, I actually move in the opposite direction of the arrow. 1, 2, 3. That gives me a positive 5. So let's do a couple examples together. I'm going to do 1 plus 3. So look at that for a second, and what do you think you would need to do? Okay, so if you said that you would mark here, it's a plus sign. So you look right, and then it's an understood positive 3. So you count in the direction of the arrow, 1, 2, 3. You'd be correct, and you would get 4. If I change it, 2 plus a negative 3, or 1 plus a negative 3, what do you think the answer would be? Okay, if you said that you would need to mark on 1, because it's a plus sign, you look right, and then because it's a negative 3, you move the opposite direction of the arrow, 1, 2, 3, which gives you a negative 2, you would be correct. One more example. I'm going to have 1 minus negative 4. So how would you solve this one? If you said that you would go ahead and mark an x over the 1, because it's a minus, you look to the left, and because it's a negative number, you move in the opposite direction of the arrow, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get a positive 5, you would be correct. So now I want you to practice this. I'm going to write a couple of problems up here on the board. I want you to copy these problems down. And then I want you to either copy this chart down on a piece of paper. Oh, you can't even see those. Copy these problems down on a piece of paper. Or simply use the chart in the video and submit your answers on Canvas. I'll have an assignment submission up for this. But what I want you to do is for question number 1, I'm going to want you to do 1 minus 2. That's too simple. 1 minus 4. 1 minus 4. 1 minus negative 4. I want you to do 2 minus 5, and then 2 plus a negative 5. These are the problems that I want you to work on today. Work on these problems, submit your answers in Canvas, and then do one last thing for me. Write me 2 to 3 sentences explaining how you use this chart to find the answers to these questions. That's your assignment for today. If you have any questions, please email me.